Summer Moon Utah Wells was 5 years old when she was reported missing from the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County, Tennessee, June 15, 2021, around 6:30 p.m. She has blonde hair which was shaved and shorter than a pixie cut at the time of her disappearance. Summer has bright blue eyes and was possibly barefoot at the time of her disappearance. She stands likely nearly 4 feet tall and likely weighs nearly 45 pounds. I am hoping soon to see an age progression photo of Summer. Summer's probably bigger than when she was reported missing at 40 pounds. She could be 45 pounds by now. She's probably taller than 3 feet tall. She's probably closer to 4 feet tall, if I had to guess. But I would love if the TBI could come out and give an update on her information. Um, Hi, LA Connection. How are you, hon? All right. This is my take on Tim Mullen's 8 journey videos. My take on Tim Mullen's journey videos is varied. I believe he is not making these videos for the family, although he claims he is. I don't know if there is some other nefarious reason for making these videos, and if there is, it's not apparent to me currently what that reason would possibly be. The one nefarious reason I could speculate that he would be making these videos is to lead someone to a particular spot at a particular time for some particular reason, or to let someone know where he has been for a specific reason in relation to the disappearance of Summer Moon Utah Wells. But I don't think either one of those things is as likely as him possibly just trying to make a name for himself. He met Robin and seemed to me to be infatuated with her, and probably still is. Maybe she reminded him of his late wife, bless her soul, may she rest in peace, that probably drew him in and gave him the confidence to keep going. Then he saw how big the case was getting, so he figured it would be good for his business if he hopped on the case as a media manager and tried to get close inside information, in my opinion. That didn't work for him, though, apparently, because based on what Tim says, Don didn't really have much interest in communicating with Tim. And obviously, Candace doesn't even want him to be around them at all because she voiced her opinion through her advocate. I believe Tim didn't really make these videos for the boys unless he, like Don, has no regard for the innocence of childhood because he mentions a lot of vulgar things that the children do not need to hear, and especially not from him. He is taking on this position with great magnitude, according to himself, and it takes a huge emotional toll. It's a big deal to him. It is a big deal to be the media manager for the Wells family, to be Summer's media manager. We all can agree on that. For Summer and her brothers, for Don and Candace, for everyone, it's a big deal because you're taking on the role of being in charge of the family's media that the world is viewing. You should treat this with the utmost respect, this media manager position, as it is in the name of a missing 6-year-old girl named Summer Moon Utah Wells. You claim not to be able to use her name very often because it is too hard for you. If you are making this for the family, I feel you would have said Summer's name a lot more. And if this is also made for public view to help get Summer's name out there, I feel you would have said Summer's name and showed her picture and information more frequently. I feel you should have. You are the one media manager for the Wells family. You admit that you tried to and did keep the Wells from the main media. You claim this was to protect them. In my opinion, that was solely to protect Don, which is vile and disgusting because Don has said some things that nobody should be defending. And if Don did something to Summer, which is a likely possibility in my opinion, then he may be trying to taint a jury. He may be trying to protect Don in the public eye because he has known Don for longer than he tells us he has. He could have been one of Don's customers for all I know, and in more than one way. This is the man Tim Mullen is defending, Don Wells, even though he admits that he has heard of a lot of rumors and doesn't know what's true or what to expect when he first went up to 110 Ben Hill Road. He still defends Don because he says he is too close to the case and he has seen Don and Candace's pain. What else has he seen? Is what I want to know. After watching all 8 of these journey videos, I feel Tim has seen and heard a lot more than he would ever say on YouTube, publicly, or even privately to a detective because he is so far into Don, protecting him as an individual when he doesn't even know what truly he is protecting or what Don is truly about, allegedly. Unless he does know and we're all being tricked and he has known Don well and all along, that would make things make more sense. For example, it would explain why you defend Don's character so much, Tim, when you allegedly have barely even talked to him, yet you somehow have control over their media and try to program YouTubers to think Don is a great dad and husband with a lovely home and lovely pets, which he has called stupid and doesn't even seem to like, when we all know damn well none of that's true. Did the Wells sign off on anything with Tim, I wonder? Why were there NDAs being signed at the Wells property? And where did the trail cams go and why did they allegedly come up missing right after Tim went up there when he wasn't even authorized to be? This is Summer Wells's father, Don Wells, the man Tim is protecting, in my opinion. Yes, I would love to see this person in prison, but Don says no. Tim tries to, in my opinion, program us to think a certain way about Don, which is ironic because he blames other YouTubes for doing just that. He tries to say that people defending, are trying to make us programmed to not like Don, but that's not what's really happening. It's just that people are coming up with their own opinions all on their own about what they think about Don. And the people that aren't, I mean, you are gonna have people that are gonna just jump on a bandwagon and follow just because, but you don't have many of those people, especially that stick around for so long. And the ones that you do kind of stand out, you know? So, anyways, Tim tries, in my opinion, to program us to think a certain way about Don, which is ironic because he blames other YouTubers for doing just that. He talks a few different times in his journey videos about certain creators programming people to think the parents, Don and Candace, have no emotion. People are programming us to think Don is a bad guy, according to Tim. So, Tim feels morally obligated to make Don look like a good guy. He turned down main media coverage for Summer Wells, according to his own words in the journey videos, to protect Don's character. This isn't about Don. This is about Summer. Why does it matter more to him Don is defended than if Summer's face is out to the world that much more? He defends Candace too. Tim says he doesn't know if it's heart or guts that Candace has led her to be able to walk in the parade where he first thinks he saw Candace for the first time. But this is a way of programming us to think that Candace does have emotion, right, Tim? So really, who's the one trying to program people? This is all a part of Tim's riddles and rhymes. Tim says he knows his videos are just absolute brilliant, entertaining talks. I don't know if he is being sarcastic, but things like that tend to seem less than appreciated by the public when you insert them into a missing child's case, as you are, Tim, by taking a role as her media manager, then using talking points like this in your videos. People don't appreciate the sarcasm because it makes you sound arrogant, or it makes you sound like you're being sarcastic and calling your own videos dull and boring, which is not appreciated because they're supposed to be for summer and you should make them interesting or at least more than dull and boring. Makes it seem like you're not taking your time to put your all into it, in my opinion. You have to put your all into it and try to give information that will be helpful into finding summer, not defending Don. It is not helpful for you to brag about the timeline specifically of when you went to the Wells home and the first time you saw them, the first time you talked to them, then the first time you ever actually introduced yourself and met them. Tim, we don't need a breakdown on that stuff. You're making yourself look suspicious and doing that breakdown of the timing when you met the family because it seems like you want us to be persuaded that you didn't previously know the family before Summer disappeared, when that's not even important. Unless you're lying and you did know them before, then why even bring it up? It has nothing to do with Summer. Are you just bragging like John and Candace are celebrities that you idolize and you wanted their autograph too? I wish he would have talked more about Summer, and if he was failing at getting her her information from the family due to lack of communication, he shouldn't have taken on the title of Media Manager Wells. This is just all my opinion and observations. Then Tim starts talking about Chris McDonough in his part 2 video. He talks about Chris McDonough a lot throughout his journey videos and always points out that he has respect for law enforcement to the maximum, but that Chris is retired, which I feel is his way of saying he doesn't have respect for Chris. If he is truly making these for the boys and the family, why is he airing out his dirty laundry with Chris McDonough? In my opinion, I found that to be possibly suspicious because I can take that as, again, another way of Tim defending Don. Tim talks about Don's stepsisters with zero respect, in my opinion. The same reason I have for not watching the interview room anymore is the same reason Tim is making me dislike him by talking disrespectfully in regards to Don's stepsisters. I don't like Mary and Jeannie being continually exploited by McDonough. That's my opinion. I don't have anything against McDonough. I just don't like that fact because that's how I feel. Tim talks about public and private skill sets more than once as well. He says Chris put their private skill sets out to the public, them being Don and Candace. He says that was brutal for Don and Candace. Why would it have been brutal if what he was showing wasn't true? If so many people in the area live like that, then why was it so brutal for them? Why are you trying to pull emotions out of parents of a missing child that are not showing emotion? You can't force them to be good people. You can't just give them the benefit of the doubt in this situation because Summer's life could potentially be at stake right now, considering the active Amber Alert, and you're holding the power to get her face out there and be transparent with the public about the family in hopes of getting answers. And you seem to be sweeping that shit under the rug, sugarcoating things, although you specifically say you're not, and keeping Summer's voice silenced and protecting her parents. My question for Tim is one I know I would probably not get an honest answer to, but I want to know why he goes so far to try to protect Don and Candace that he will let Summer slip through the cracks. I also want to know why Tim would not take Don's phone to the authorities considering the situation and the allegations against Don, Tim still kept the phone, knowing there could be potential evidence on it. He thought it was the right thing to do, man to man, in my opinion, to protect Don's phone, because he was supposed to be trusted with it. Tim allegedly went through Don's phone, although he says he didn't. So another question I have for Tim is, why did he keep the phone and then download it allegedly? Why would he need to download Don's phone? That is suspicious as hell to me. That's a whole nother level of protecting Don, in my opinion. Also, finally, why was Tim allegedly taking photos of Summer in church, or allegedly stealing photos and putting his watermark on it? What all exact photos are there that exist of Summer in church that he allegedly took? Videos and photos. Either way, my question is why? I have other questions. Those are my main ones. I also would love to know what he is doing now and see a recap of all the things in the last year and a half that he has done for Summer Moon Utah Wells as her media manager. Is Tim running the Don Wells family official YouTube and Don's Facebook? Where is Tim now? Why isn't he doing more for Summer? How well does he really know Don, and why and how did he go about turning the main media down when they tried to do a story on Summer? Like, did they come and ask the parents and he told them to tell them no, so they did? Or was he there, or did they come to him, or Don and Candace directed them to him and he said no? How did that go down? That's what I want to know. I want to know if Tim had anything to do with the trail cams going missing, which leads me to my next talking point, Jody Sue Brown. Do we think it's possible that Jody Sue Brown and Tim Mullen know each other? Is it possible that Tim Mullen has a connection with the man that took photos for the real estate in the area? If so, what is their connection? I would love to interview Tim. I have so many questions, and it would hopefully clear the air for him on some things. As Summer Moon Utah Wells' media manager, I believe you should be doing more for Summer. The media is huge and it is everywhere, and everyone has it. If you're in control of the media for Summer Wells' case, can you at least come on with her Amber Alert information and do a story on her? If you can't handle it, maybe you should consider stepping down. There should be weekly updates coming from you, Tim, in my opinion, even if it's the same thing time after time. You can't say Summer's name too much, and you definitely can't show too much of her face. She is missing and considered in imminent danger. Please beg and plead for her safe return and show her information more. Please, Tim Mullen, if you so happen to hear this by the grace of God and somehow it gets to your heart, know that I am purely giving my observations. I am not hating on you for content. I am not monetized. I am truly trying to find answers for Summer and doing my small part as a drop in the ocean. I stumble across your journey videos over and over. I find them boring and distasteful as you talk about your beef with Chris and mock sexual assault and defend a man you claim to barely know that has been named a suspect in his daughter's disappearance. Ronnie Lawson says they're all suspects. Who did you think he was talking about, Tim, when he said everyone is a suspect? If I could give you a bit of advice, not that I'm boasting myself as I'm imperfect, but my advice to you would be to talk more about Summer Moon Utah Wells. Show her face, say her name, and give her information. Try to get stories about her out of her parents if they're even communicating with you, as it seems they don't have much interest. You're going to get a lot of backlash, and you know that being in media, you admit that you know how evil the media can be. So don't let this offend you, but I think you should get a different day job because Summer Moon Utah Wells deserves the best of the best, and this ain't it. Now that you've made your name for yourself, step away from being Summer's media manager and just be a YouTube creator that covers Summer Wells, but actually cover her. It seems you are trying to become an entity in her case rather than just trying to be invisible and tell her story, like you say. I don't know what you are, Tim Mullen, but if I had to venture to guess, I would say you're just lonely and have money to spend and saw an opportunity with a big news story to make a name for yourself. I can be 40-60 on that. The 40 of me still thinks there is something nefarious going on because you're defending Don till the bitter end, and you turned down main media for Summer. This makes me speculate that you're protecting more than just Don and Candace, that you had ties in with something illegal going on with them, and you don't want it to be found out. So you had to come out and make it look like you just met them, and you are controlling their media because you don't want them to mess up and get the wrong camera in their face at the wrong time and slip up and say something that will get them in trouble. So you want to be there to control that. I don't think you're playing mediator. I think you're playing manipulator. Do I think he is a curator? No. Do I think he is the head of the snake? No. The higher up? No. I think he is part of a cover up of something that we don't know yet. If he really isn't just a lonely old man looking to make a name for I hope you can hear me because my headphones just died. I cannot think of any other reason why Tim inserted himself into the case. He verged on stalking Robin and the Wells family, all for a couple of photos of the dogs and what little bit of information he got in regards to Summer, which was next to none. He got a hold of some photos, which I appreciate. If only he would show them off more. Summer Moon Utah Wells is still missing. She was only 5 at the time of her disappearance, now about to turn 7 very soon. She must look so different by now. I would love to see Tim get an age progression photo of Summer professionally done, or try to make that happen. I would love to see Tim try to get more banners made that can be hung around wherever, and maybe see him going around posting up Summer's information. There's an idea for a video. He may have some pull as the Wells family media manager. With a title like that, the TBI may actually read your email, Tim. You have talked to them before, though, right? You did say you called in some red trucks. How did those conversations go? Did you tell them about your red truck? Don't be like Jody and not report vital information that you allegedly know. Next thing we know, Tim's going to be on here defending Jody Sue Brown. I wouldn't be surprised if Tim and Jody knew each other. Allegedly knew 423 Jody allegedly knew 423 Chase all along. How many of you potential suspects in the disappearance of Summer Moon Utah Wells know each other? I want to see Tim do more for Summer. I want to see him step down from being anywhere around her case. We need someone on Summer's media that is on her side, not someone who is just on Don's side. Tim says you don't pound people who have weaknesses and speaks on Don's vulnerabilities. Yet, how does Tim know what Don's weaknesses and vulnerabilities are if he hardly knows him? The way Tim talks about Don like they're brothers really bothers me because he clearly states he met Don August 3rd at the prayer vigil. He even throws in that Don accepted his friend request on Facebook August 23rd, which I thought stood out because, for one, why is that important for Summer Wells? And for two, it's like he wants to make sure we know he wasn't friends with Don on Facebook before Summer went missing, even though that doesn't prove that. Why does Tim appear to have so much given respect for Don? Tim says being the media manager makes him so sick and stressed out that it gives him nightmares because he sees the grief and emotion in Don and Candace from losing their little girl, Summer Moon Utah Wells. Yet, how and when do you see all this raw emotion? He makes it sound like he hangs out there with the Wells on the reg, and it's a normal thing for them to be down in the dumps and in their feels of grief and anguish over their missing daughter, Summer Moon Utah Wells. See, Tim, I love Summer too, and I feel close to her in my heart. I have nightmares too. I'll tell you a secret. I have trauma and I have had flashbacks and anxiety attacks and bawled my eyes out over Summer. I have never met her in person, only in spirit. But it's not hard for me to say her name. I say it loud and proud and as much as I can because that's what matters and it's important. Tim, you had no interaction with Don and Candace. Robin was your go-between for how long? How could you be seeing all this raw emotion as frequently as you put off? Don't enable Don and Candace reckless lifestyle by trying to make it sound like it's what it's It's what's normal in the area. You can't justify some things, Tim. You can't justify the way Don was letting his children live in that home. I'm not sorry for the way I feel about this. That home was dangerous and depressing for a child to be in. That did not appear to be an environment even CPS would want to allow a child to live in, and they will stoop surprisingly low when there is no other family placement options, and they know it. If they had seen Don and Candace's home, though, they may have worked with them to get their boys back, but I cannot see them letting the boys remain there with the condition of the home, and the parents' mental state being that they were admittedly not sober and clearly not stable, in my opinion. I'm not judging them. I'm giving my observations because I think it's important to talk about our observations in the case as citizens that are investing their time into the case. It's important to talk about relevant matters. We can't always be sure what matters truly are relevant, as the circumstances leading up to Summer's disappearance are still actively being investigated, but we can responsibly speculate. Hey, Annabella, honey. Annabella, I love when you do your cookie videos. It's so fun. That's all I had on this for Tim Mullen, and I'm getting really tired, so I'm gonna go so I can go to bed. But thank you guys for being here, LA Connection and Annabella and No Nope. Really appreciate you guys. Oh, I didn't see all the comments. Oh, Piggytail Sally is here, and I love her. That's Yanni. Yanni, my love. I think you guys probably all know Yanni in here. If you're not subbed up to Yanni, she does some pretty interesting stuff on her. She had a Yanni Survivor Stories was what she was called, but now she's Piggytail Sally. All right, I'm gonna go because I'm really tired, and I just want to keep it simple. But all right, love you guys. But it didn't play, so I'm trying to see what this says. Lilming, you are so sweet. You feel that's why I am here. Ugh, that's why we are all still talking. Right? No, nope, we are. Ugh, yep. Merry Christmas, LA. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll see you all tomorrow, probably. Bye.